Hi, my name is Erica Bruder, and I've come to talk about a couple of books that you could read for free reading or extra credit. Oh, hi. My name is Jeannie Blackstone. I'm the main character in Maureen Johnson's book, 13 Little Blue Envelopes. I'm sitting here at the London airport waiting for my next move. I got a few minutes, so let me fill you in. I'm a 17-year-old American here in Europe for an adventure. Actually, I'm scared to death. I'm mostly here on an obligation to my Aunt Peg. She sent me on a mission. Well, I guess that's not exactly true. At least not directly. Let me fill you in on the details. My Aunt Peg was my very best friend. She always seemed to know when I needed an ear to listen to, a friend to lean on, or someone to have fun with. And she always knew when to call at just the right time. My Aunt Peg, she was an artist, and I loved visiting her in a cute little apartment in New York City. But one day, a couple of years ago, she just up and left. No message, nothing. For a long time, we didn't hear from her at all. Then one day, we get a letter saying she was okay, but nothing about where she was or what she was doing. A few months ago, we received a phone call from a man we had never met. His name was Richard. He told us that Aunt Peg was gone. Cancer. What happened after that was kind of just a blur. I remember going to the airport with my mom to meet my Aunt Peg's body. And then there was a funeral, and then just a real lot of sadness. A few months ago, after the funeral, I received a letter in the mail. In it was a little blue envelope, and the letter contained instructions and an invitation on an adventure for my Aunt Peg. Well, maybe it's good if I just read you the letter. Here's what it said. Dear Ginger, I have never been a great follower of rules. You know that. So it's gonna seem a little odd that this letter is full of rules I've written and that you need to follow. Rules to what? You've been asking yourself? You always did ask good questions. Remember how we used to play the game Today I Live In when you were little and you used to come visit me in New York? I think I like the Russia game the best. We always played that one in the winter. We would go see the Russian art collection at the Met, stomp through the snow in Central Park, and then go to the little Russian restaurant in the village and then have those really good pickles and that weird hairless poodle who would sit at the window and bark at the cabs. I like to play that game again one more time, except now we're going to be a little more literal. Today's game is the I Live in London. Notice I've included $1,000 in cash in this envelope. This is for a passport, a one-way ticket from New York to London, and a backpack. Keep a few bucks for a cab to the airport. Upon booking the ticket, packing the bags, and hugging everyone goodbye, I want you to go to New York City. Specifically, I want you to go to the Fourth Noodle Chinese restaurant under my old apartment. Something is waiting for you. Go to the airport right from there. You'll be gone for several weeks, and you'll be traveling in foreign lands. These are the aforementioned rules that will guide you on your travels. Rule number 1. You may bring only what fits in your backpack. Don't fake it with a carry-on purse or purse. Rule number 2. You may not bring guidebooks, phrasebooks, or any kind of foreign language aid, and no journals. Rule number 3. You cannot bring extra money or debit cards, credit cards, travel checks, etc. I'll take care of all that. Rule number 4. No electronic crutches. This means no laptops, no cell phones, no music, and no camera. You can't call home or communicate with people in the U.S. by internet or telephone. Postcards and letters are acceptable and encouraged. That's all you need to know for now. See you at the Fourth Noodle. Love, your runaway aunt. When I arrived at New York City, at the Fourth Noodle, my Aunt Peg wasn't there, though I met Alice, the owner. Well, I met her before. She was one of my Aunt Peg's best friends, and she had a package for me. My instructions told me to get the package and go straight to the airport. So I took the package and I went to the airport. When I got on the way to London, I finally opened it. Inside it was a stack of little blue envelopes, 12 of them to be exact. They were numbered from 2 to 13. They match exactly the little envelope I had received in the mail just a few weeks before. So now here I am in London with specific instructions to go visit one of my aunt's friends, the man named Richard. Before I open the next envelope, she promised me an adventure. I just hope I can find out what happened to my aunt and maybe learn a little bit more about myself. I wouldn't mind a little romance here in Europe. But since my love life in the United States was not existent, that's not exactly what's happened. Will likely happen. But anyway, it should be fun, and I'm looking forward to even it though I'm a little scared. Well, I better get going. I gotta catch a cab and get over to Richard's. Do you want to come? You can. All you gotta do is read 13 Little Blue Envelopes by Marie Johnson. See ya! In Book 1 of the comic book series Afterlife with Archie, Archie and his crew find themselves in more than their usual small-town shenanigans. This comic is much darker than the original Archie series. After Hot Dog, Jughead's dog, is hit by a car, he enlists the help of Sabrina the Teenage Witch and her aunts Zelda and Hilda to bring him back. Unfortunately, they're unable to. Jughead begs them to bring Hot Dog back with their witchcraft, but they refuse. Later that night, Sabrina floats into Jughead's window and tells him she will bring Hot Dog back to the dead. So she takes Jughead and a dead hot dog to the river between life and death. After Jughead buries Hot Dog, Sabrina tells him to go home and wait. Not soon after, Sabrina's two very angry aunts show up and arrive, banishing her from the mortal world. Meanwhile, Betty and Veronica are arguing over who Archie will be taking to the Halloween dance. Archie, however, is worried about Jughead and wondering why he's not at school. Jughead had stayed home to wait for Hot Dog, who ends up showing up, but is something evil, and he starts attacking Jughead. Later, Jughead, who is now a zombie, shows up to the Halloween dance and eats Ethel Myrtle in front of the students of Riverdale High. It does not take long until the others are changed into zombies and begin wreaking havoc in Riverdale. Archie, Veronica, and Betty, and what's left of the rest of the crew now have to fight to survive the evil that has taken over their small town. Afterlife with Archie by Roberto Ariagzaska. Hi, I'm Dana. I'm a student at Wayside School. Maybe you've heard of it. It's a really tall school that leans sideways. It's 30 stories high with a classroom on each story. From the outside, the school might look strange, but the inside, we're just your average students and teachers. Sorry if I keep itching. I got bit by mosquitoes and I can't seem to concentrate. Today in class, I had trouble listening to my teacher, Miss Jules. She was teaching us arithmetic. Thankfully, she helped me take my mind off them by turning them into numbers. I like Miss Joel. I'm glad she's my new teacher. We used to have a teacher, Miss Garf, who was the meanest teacher at Wayside. She turned the whole class into apples. But she changed us back after we all started jumping on her because she couldn't control 27 apples. Even though we're not proud that we're responsible for what happened to Miss Garf, we're all glad she's gone now. We have Miss Jules. She's sweet and funny. On her first day, she thought we're all monkeys. She might be nice most of the time, but don't talk in class or she'll put your name under the word discipline. On the first day of class, the new kid, Sammy, got his name on the board and a check mark. He would not take off his stinky raincoats. He had at least 8 on, and he kept making insults to anyone who would comment on how stinky his coats were. He even called Miss Jules an old windbag. When she took off the last one, he ended up being a dead rat instead of a kid. My classmates are just like any other kids in class, like Myron. He was our class president. His duty as president was to turn on the lights every morning. One afternoon after school, he saved Dana's dog, who was hit by a car. Myron carried Pugsies 2 miles to the vet, and he was late for class because he went to check on him the next morning. We all had to wait in the dark till he arrived to turn on the lights. So, the next day, Miss Jewel made Stephen the class president. He's not only our class president now, he's also our hero. On the Friday before Halloween, he dressed up for class' Halloween party. He had green hair, purple ears, a blue face. He even wore his sister's pink dancing shoes and leotard. It was a good costume, except no one else got dressed up. Everyone made fun of him, but he was the last one laughing after he saved us from Miss Gorf, who had come back for revenge. As I said, the school's nothing special. It's just your typical school with typical teachers, typical students. Well, I better get going. I don't want to be late to hear our schoolyard teacher Lewis tell his stories. It's about strange kids from school. Bye! Sideways Stories from Wayside High by Louis Satcher. The Lemonade War by Jacqueline Davies. Fourth grader Evan Tresky is ready for summer, relaxing with friends, playing video games, no teachers, no reading. This is the best summer ever. What Evan is not ready for is the letter that came from school, the letter that has ruined his life. No, it's not a summer school letter. It's so much worse. His little sister Jessie has just qualified to skip a grade, and so now instead of going to second to third, she'll be going from second to fourth. And not just any fourth grade class, right into Evan's class. I mean, how's anyone going to think Evan is cool if his little sister is hanging out with him all the time? And that is how the Lemonade War begins this summer. Brother versus sister. One out to prove how cool they are, and the other just trying to keep up. It's an all-out war. The first one to $100 will be the ultimate winner and keep all the profits. All's fair in love and war, right? But can you really win if your lemonade is sabotaged with mud and bugs? And can you win if all your profits get stolen? Lemonade War by Jacqueline Davies. See Me by Nicholas Sparks. 28-year-old Maria Sanchez wasn't looking for love when her tire blew out on an empty road on a cold, rainy night. She felt more like running and screaming for help when a mysterious man with a mangled face came close to her on that lonely road. His muscles were ripped, and he was wearing a ratty black concert t-shirt and torn-up jeans. He looked more like someone who escaped from jail and not a good Samaritan. 28-year-old Colin Hancock was having a bad night. He had lost his MMA match earlier and just gotten into a big verbal fight with his best friend Evan. He was going to drive right by the lady on the side of the road. It wasn't his problem. But when he got closer, he saw her dark hair and wide-set eyes and realized she had a striking resemblance to one of the girls in his class. So he went and helped her out, just in case it was her. Maria was too scared to talk at first, and Colin could sense it. He even reassured her that he was just going to help her with her tire. Still a bit wary of his intentions, she let him help her, and while she waited in her car, then before she could thank him, the mysterious man was gone. On Monday at UNC Wilmington, Serena Sanchez was supposed to be listening to her professor, but instead she was staring at one of her classmates. It was hard not to stare. His face looked horrible. It was bruised and swollen, but that was not the reason she was staring. Saturday night, her sister had told her about some guy helping her with her flat tire. Her classmate looked just like the guy her sister had described. After class, she chased him down. Colin was a bit surprised at first, but then he noticed she reminded him of someone. Maria never went out much. She was always busy focusing on her career as a lawyer at one of the big legal firms in Wilmington. So Serena was happy when she had finally convinced Maria to go to dinner. When they finally made it to the rooftop bar at Krabby Pete's restaurant, Serena called the bartender over by name. When he turned around, Maria noticed his sparkling blue-green eyes and his exceptionally fit body. When he got closer, she saw a fading bruise on his cheek, and then she realized who he was. He looked a lot different from that guy from the rainy night. When Colin turned around, he froze when he saw Maria, but instead of making things awkward, he went over to talk to Serena and her guest. Colin was busy bartending most of the night, and at that time, by the time Maria and Serena were done with dinner, he had finished his shift and had already left. When they left the restaurant, Serena went to meet up with some friends, so Maria decided to take a pleasant evening stroll on the pier. She noticed a handsome-looking fisherman, and when he turned around, her cheeks turned flushed when she saw it was Colin. The two ended up talking the rest of the night. Colin felt a connection to Maria, so that night he confessed to her about his violent run-ins with the past and with the law. Maria was first taken aback about what Colin had told her, but she admired his honesty. She was starting to like Colin, but she was worried that if she began to date him, his violent temper from the past could hurt the relationship. However, it's Maria's dangerous past that puts her family and Colin in danger. See Me by Nicholas Sparks.